Hey, what do you know? This is the Melvin Live Show. How's everyone doing? Well, today it's Tuesday, and I want to follow up from what we talked about yesterday. Yesterday, we were on the topic of automation and how, I hate selling, but in the course of my years as an entrepreneur, I have consistently sold six figures consulting packages. And so, how did I actually do that? Right. And so, that was what I covered in yesterday's episode itself. So, if you have not watched the episode yesterday, make sure you go ahead and check it out. But for today, what I want to share with you is the idea of, can you actually afford to take a gap year in your business? Now, as we all know, many of us, when we stop working, the money stops. Many of us are in that situation where we trade time for money. Many of us are also in the situation where we are constantly thinking about how can we make money in order to be able to sustain the lifestyle that we want. And so for many of us, this whole idea of when you stop working, does the money stop, becomes an issue itself. And so what I want to touch on here is today. So to give you a little bit of a background, in 2015, what happened was I started to think about how I could transform my trading time for money business into a digital business. And the primary reason why I wanted to do that was because I wanted to make sure that I was able to operate from anywhere in the world if I choose to. What I want was not just options, but what I want was that ability to have that freedom, the freedom to explore anywhere that I want to, the freedom to go anywhere that I want to, the freedom to operate from anywhere that I want to. However, at the point in time, what happened was the kind of work that I do requires me to be here in Singapore. And every year we would take like a vacation just to get away and just to get out of Singapore. Now, over the years, what happened was I began experimenting with what if I could take some of the business and do it online. Now, at a point in time, the group of people that I was working with was kind of resistant to the idea itself they still kind of prefer that we operate face to face, or we they would require me to show up in person. And that creates a big problem for me because I had to make sure that I am there, I am in Singapore, because if I'm not, then obviously I cannot carry out the work. And if I cannot carry out the work, I can't build them. If I can't build them, the money stops. And so, what I was really working towards was the core idea of what if I'm able to earn an income even while I do not have to be physically there. Now, of course, in today's context, after COVID-19, this whole idea of working remotely, it's now something that people can identify with, something that people understand. But at the point in time in 2015, especially here in Asia and here particularly in Singapore, people were not open to that idea itself. And they kind of prefer that we meet up in person. And so they kind of see that in person method or that in person delivery, it's much, much more effective than the online way of doing delivery. Now, of course, they are entitled to their views, but many of them were really, really resistant to doing that. And so in 2015, I started that transformation. I started exploring what are the various ways that I could do it. Can I tap on Zoom? Can I tap on some webinar platform that I had a subscription to in order to be able to proceed with doing consultation online? And I was happy to say that in that process of experimentation, I actually discovered that it was possible. And in fact, I love it, right? I absolutely enjoy that entire process itself. Not just the lack of need to commute, but the fact that I could, literally from anywhere in the world, I could still run my business. And that was a good motivational factor for me. And as a result of that, in 2016 and 2017, that allowed me and my family to take a gap year to travel for 365 days and to essentially just travel world school my kids and also to be able to earn an income while I'm doing that. Now, of course, the funny thing was when we landed in the US, the the immigration officer was asking a lot of questions, and the primary question that she asked was, what kind of work do you do that allows you to travel for 6 months in the US? And of course, I have to explain that I had consulting work, and pretty much of my consulting work can be done online. And even for them, right? I mean, even for the US, the the immigration officer was still trying to figure out how exactly does that work. And so, that led to that realization that this thing is still not widespread yet. And of course, when I was doing our travel, I recall, when I was in Atlanta, the Airbnb host was actually asking me, like, what kind of work that you do that allows you to travel for an extended period of time? And how many hours a day do you work? And so I was sharing with her what are some of my business model and what are some of the things that I do to allow me to earn that income as well as to be able to travel. And the best part is I could literally operate from anywhere in the world, right? And so that has allowed me to not just have the financial means to to take a gap year, but it also allows me to have the ability to operate and to function even when I decide to take a 1 year travel adventure with my family itself. So the point I want to make here is the following. What we want to build, it's a one person, 1 million all digital business. And why all digital? The primary reason it's because at the end of the day, what we really want to achieve is that ability to be able to operate from anywhere that we choose to, right? If we choose to be at a particular location, it's because we want to, right? It's because we want to, and not so much we have to. And so, and in that process itself, really is to think about how we could design this business in such a way that allows us to do just that. And so I'm just glad that this whole process itself, this whole journey itself, has not only enabled me to take a gap year and travel with my family, but more importantly, during the COVID-19 lockdown itself, I was able to essentially survive and still be able to help people in their work itself. And so that was absolutely a blessing for me. So what we are going to be going in depth into starting tomorrow, it's that I'm going to share with you some of the books that I've read in terms of how you are able to operate. And these are not just books talking about creating a one person $1 million business. No, it's more than that, right? I'm going to share with you some business model that you can think about in order to help you create and build this one person, 1 million all digital business. So, what are some of the business models? That's something that I would want to share with you. And then on Thursday itself, we're gonna take a look at one of the great flywheel, one of this flywheel that we can emulate. What is it that we could emulate? What is it that we can adopt? What is it that we can adapt? And what is it that we can embrace for our business? And then on Friday itself, I'm going to share with you the process that I take in terms of automation, in terms of how I kind of put all the different pieces together and create this whole automated process that it's able to take over the day-to-day things that it's required for me to do, right? And then we're going to be talking about the tools and all that good stuff, right? So this is what's going to happen between tomorrow and all the way till Saturday itself. And of course, on Sunday, I would invite you to submit your questions if you have for me pertaining to, what are some of the areas that you could look into automation and to be able to help you create that all digital business itself. All right. And so with that, thank you so much for watching. And, once again, please give me your feedback, what you like about the show, what do you want to watch more of, what exactly are you struggling with? Is it the mindset bit? Is it the business model, or is it the revenue model that you are struggling with in creating this one person, 1 million all digital business? And with that, I would invite you to like this video if it has been useful. And if you want more videos like this, then make sure you go ahead and subscribe to my channel, and so that whenever I go live, you'll be notified in the process itself. Okay, and if you got a question, feel free to leave it in the comments. If you want me to cover a particular area, please also feel free to leave me a comment or send me an email. And what I'll do is I will then see whether I can answer your question in the comments itself, or it warrant an entire live episode itself like this. And I'll do that for you. All right. And so with that, this is Melvin Tan. And I thank you for being here and see you guys on the next one. Bye bye.